Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hassman, and joining me today is a good friend of mine. We were just discussing, really surprising to me it's your first time on the show, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm excited to have her here now. She's in a new role in the industry. She's Promotional Products Work Manager at PPAI. Lindsey Davis, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me, Kirby. I'm so happy to be here. And what a perfect first time.
Right. And it's funny because, again, you have taken on this new role. And so I kind of want to dive into what's going on with it. I think that the audience will be intrigued by it. So let's just start with kind of 10,000 feet. I mean, what was the driving force for PPAI to host a virtual expo? And I guess sort of the follow-up is, how will it help the industry going forward, do you think?
Absolutely. So one thing I know is that PPAI's vision is that promotional products are universally valued and that they are essential to every brand. And so for me, and maybe I'm a little biased because it's my PPAI initiative, I feel like this is the truest and purest support of that initiative, is focusing on the Promotional Products Work initiative overall. And in support of that, the Promotional Products Work Expo, which is a virtual end user expo on September 29th. That we will host distributors and their buyers at to help elevate the medium through that conversation.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had this conversation with Paul Bellantone before, and actually Dale Denham now, current president. And I agree with you. I think that is one of the most powerful things that the association can do, is to help us continue that conversation to elevate the brand. So I'm excited that, and you've heard me talk about this before, that this is a position, right? Like, this is something that someone is taking a leadership role on, and I'm excited it's you. So what are the major topics that are going to be discussed during Promotional Products Work Expo? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I would love to. So the very first thing I took on my first week was the education piece. So it is an area I'm very passionate about. And so the educational topics we're focused on aren't necessarily the norm of what we talk about day to day when we talk to buyers, maybe in print or in our own PR about, supply chain challenges, or man, you better get your holiday order in now, or, how you give good vector art, those kinds of things. We're focusing, and while there'll certainly be opportunities to have that conversation because it's so valuable, we're focusing more on aspirational and inspirational and trends, because like we said, we really want to elevate the medium. And so some of the key areas of focus will be things like how to do an awesome unboxing, the importance of employee gifts, especially right now, and how you do that when you're talking about recognition versus when you're talking about back to the office or work from home. The key area will obviously be sustainability, CSR, in that area, along with give back. Customization and personalization is also a key topic, and the trend around those two areas and how you do that well. And the great thing about all of the topics is it allows for really awesome product incorporation. And so whether we're talking about a product that allows for really awesome personalization or an employee gift that hits home really hard, we'll be able to weave product through in a truly inspirational way as well. And then in addition to education, there are also going to be ways that people interact with product in pavilions as well that are themed.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, and I think PPAI has always had an initiative to outreach education. I mean, when I wrote a book a long time ago about it, PPAI was just such an amazing resource. It was they had done the research for me. And so I always thought that was really cool. So can you kind of talk about, for people, so that they can know the difference between PPW week, PPW day, like what's the mix there?
Absolutely. So the way I am putting this to, I think, help it make more sense is that PPW, Promotional Products Work, is the initiative. And the goal of the initiative really is the vision of PPAI, that promotional products are universally valued and essential to every brand. And then under that, there are some key components that support it. So the one that's most relevant right now is Promotional Products Work Expo, which is the event we're talking about today. It happens on Promotional Products Work Day, which is meant to be a day that we all reach out and we talk about this amazing medium that we get to sell and live and breathe every single day, and talk about its value and its use case and how it helps drive messaging. And traditionally, that has been a week. Well, I shouldn't say traditionally. A few years ago, it was a full week. And there were different activities every day. And I think sometimes that got a little overwhelming. Okay, well, this day I should give education, and this day I need to do this thing. And so we've really made it more of a day, to do one exciting day. And so the thing to do this year is attend and invite your buyer to Promotional Products Work Expo. Outside of that, there's the Promotional Products Work website, which is sort of another pillar, which is promotionalproductswork.com. It's been has a little bit of a facelift and it still has a ways to go, but it's growing and it's really nice and buyer focused. Okay. And then the last piece is really the PR, the outreach, whether we are networking with regional associations in our community or marketing associations outside our community, but just building that message.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because I for quite a while, I mean, I think we tried to take part in the Promotional Products Work Week, and you're right, it did become a little bit overwhelming. And part of it was I loved what they did, so it's not a critique. It was like, oh, go speak to a local organization on Tuesday or whatever, and you're like, well, that's great, but they meet on Wednesday, and so giving it where you can throw all of your energy behind one day, I think might make some sense, especially in just this moment in time. So I think that makes a ton of sense. Now, I understand there was a beta version of the show that was held in May. So what are I guess my thing would be, how'd that go? What are the changes that were made and what drove you guys to make them?
Absolutely. So it went well, but I will also say we learned a lot. And so the beta version was smaller and intentionally so, to figure out, how did the platform work? What needed to be changed? And so there were some key changes we made from then till now based on, overall feedback from the industry, incredibly constructive, positive and negative feedback.
Sure.
But also feedback from a really engaged work group of volunteers as well, who looked really closely at the platform and stayed really engaged with us, which has been awesome to work with them as well. So one of the biggest ones is actually the framework of it all. So previously it was booths, sort of like direct to you, if you picture the way the booth interaction was. And now it's actually going to be just pavilions. And so when you go in, there'll be education on our main stage, like we talked about, and then 3 different pavilions so that customers can explore product by the type of product, by special features like made in USA or sustainability, and then also by where they would use it. So the use cases, maybe a hospital, maybe education, maybe awards, those kinds of things. And so they can really explore different ways and under different categories on each. The benefit of this is that there aren't suppliers on the website. So there isn't any risk of communication or fear around that between buyers and suppliers. I think we crossed that hurdle when we started doing end user shows in person, but there's still a lot more, I think, a lot less fear when you're like watching the interaction. I'm looking at it in front of me versus it being online. And so I think we still have some growth to get comfortable with that.
Sure.
And so we are doing the pavilions. And then in addition, for suppliers, they don't have to be on the show. They don't have to think through, okay, well, the busy hour is going to be the first 2 or the last 2 or the middle. How do I staff this? Well, I really wish this person's rep was on to talk to them. And, all those things that from just having been a supplier like 3 weeks ago,
right.
I would have thought through. And so that's really nice to be able to give the suppliers back their time, still showcase their product exactly how they want to onto the pavilion that makes the most sense for them. And then they actually will get a report of likes and views on their product as a new little like button, think Instagram heart.
Yeah.
And, they'll actually get a report of that. Now it will have code numbers that correspond to, for the distributors to know which buyer it is, but they will have the distributor on it. So they can still follow up and all that. That's the biggest change.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going off script here. I hope this is okay. So let's say I'm bringing a customer. Do they just go and go to these pavilions on their own? Are we somehow attached? Are we supposed to be in the same room? How does that work with your distributor and your end user?
No, that's a great question. So the end user can explore on their own. They can go watch the education. They can go dig into some offline education content. They can explore all the pavilions. Now, a distributor will see when they're liking things and what they're viewing. They'll get all of that reporting too. And then the distributor can also direct message with anyone who's currently logged in. Okay. So say your ABC company is logged in, you can message with them, but you can't message with XYZ until they log in later. And so, yeah, go ahead.
No, I apologize. But then I would register them as a guest of mine, and that's how. Okay. I just wanted to
totally. We just finished that journey, and so what's going to happen is so you'll sign on August 2nd. Registration opens. You'll sign up, and then you'll send invitations to maybe 5, 10, 15 of your buyers, however many, and then they'll get an invitation that says, "Hey, Kirby Hossman's has invited you to this. Do you want to go?" I mean, it's written nicer than that. I wrote it. I know it is. And they either say yes or no. And if they say no, they don't get anything else from us. But you get an acknowledgement saying they said no. If they say yes, you get an acknowledgement saying, hey, this person's going to be there. And then they'll get a reminder email closer to the event as well.
That's really cool.
So,
okay. That was, I'll be honest, that was one of the pieces I was trying to get my head around the logistics of it, but I think it's a really cool initiative, Lindsey, and I'm excited that you're leading it up. So really quickly, for those listening, they're interested, details of the event. Where can they find information? What's the dates? All that stuff real quick.
Absolutely. So the event is on September 29th. It is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. They can find information at promotionalproductswork.com. Right now, there is a little link where you can click notify me when it opens, and you'll get an email the day it opens, which is August 2nd. So you don't have to remember it's August 2nd. We'll remind you that it's open. It is actually open now for suppliers to register. We're signing suppliers up already. The benefit of that is the ones that are early to register, I'm pulling their products in for education. So if you're a supplier watching, make sure you're signed up. And so we are working through that already right now.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for doing this, Lindsey. This is really interesting. I think it's a cool initiative, and I love that you're doing it. We'll do this again sometime. We won't wait as long to do another.
I would
DMJ.
love to. Absolutely. Right. You know what? The thing that made me say yes to this job was the initiative, not just the expo. So when I get to September 29th, that's the day I feel like I get to just blow this all up and start thinking bigger picture and figure out where we're going. And I would love to talk more then too, because that'll be a great opportunity to engage everyone in the industry.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing it. We will do it again. Okay.
All right.
Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.